Hello and welcome to the show. This week's FailRace versus the community was the Seat Leon Supercars. These are basically touring cars. We were running all of these completely stock with no tuning allowed, so it is a completely equal playing field. Into the first corner at the Alps circuit, there was a little bit of lag, unfortunately. I believe it killed one car. There's a little bit of damage in that. However, it was sort of in the middle of the field. Only a couple of people were affected. At the front, it was rather close. After we did the leaderboard, what's it called, challenge yesterday, unlikely leaderboard cars, me and Husky really quite liked this track. It was great fun to drive, so we thought we'd give it a go in the versus community with some very high downforce cars. These cars are really quite good around here. They have so much grip, and this track's really fast and flowing. These might not be to everybody's taste. They are front wheel drive. They can be a tiny bit understeery, but for what they are, they're really not that bad. And around this track, you are flat out probably 80% of the lap, maybe more than that. There was also a crash. I think somebody forgot that we were going on the shorter layout of the circuit, and there were some issues with a few broken cars towards the back. I think from about 10th backwards had broken cars in this, maybe even a bit further, a bit sort of higher up than that. I then bumped the wall. The one downside with these cars, they are quite big at the back. If you're following very, very closely to the car in front, you can't see very much, and I may have turned into the wall and broke my aero. There is just another downside. These cars do rely a lot on aero. While they'll still be good through the corners, if you break the aero, they really struggle in a straight line. We tried to go 3 wide into the first corner. That's always a little bit scary. I think Husky was on the inside. Possibly it is a black Seat. It's very hard to tell with the little screen that I'm watching on recording this. I think that was Husky going past up into third. I am now battling with the blue Seat, trying to find my way past. This track's so hard to overtake on, as there are very, very little braking zones. You're flat out all the way around here. Camera gets a little bit lost. You're flat out all the way down the hill. There is a tiny braking zone through here, but these cars have got so much grip you don't need to brake very much. Everybody runs wide in the opening laps around here. Husky runs very wide, very close to the wall. However, he has got enough momentum to keep ahead of me. We've got a blue car going around the outside of me. He's on the inside for the next bit of track, and I cannot really do an awful lot about it. But yeah, this track is very, very hard to overtake. The leaders, I should say, had managed to get away a little bit, just a small breakaway from the rest of the chasing pack, and there was a change of lead. If you're trying to do a kind of an overtake around here, you often spend about half a lap side by side with somebody, because there's just very few braking zones. There's such a tiny braking zone into this final corner. Also, this track is very, very wide, so you can run side by side fairly easily and not lose any time in doing so. The pack, there's about a 6-way battle here for second place. It really was quite sweet. It might even be more than that, I'm not sure. Can I count cars? Yeah, there's 6 in there. I think I run a little bit wide into the first corner, and that puts me not quite where I want to be. If you take aero damage in these cars, it really does cause some issues. When you're kind of racing or whatever, if you take sort of 10%, 20% aero damage when you're all racing different cars, you can normally deal with it because your cars have all got different strengths and weaknesses. Around here though, with completely equal cars, and especially on a fast track like this that relies on a lot of straight line speed, when you take just a little bit of aero damage, you really do struggle. I was under attack, someone running very wide again, trying to get past me. I think Husky liked that wall. He went to visit that wall a few times. But yeah, when you do have aero damage, it's not massive. Like, it doesn't ruin the handling like it does on some cars. If you ever get rear aero damage on a V8 supercar, you'll know about it. So I think I got past somebody as they ran very wide. There's lots of overtaken. Husky's making his way up to second. The blue car we're following is making his way up to a position 4th, I think, trying to. Can't quite get through there. I think someone scraped the wall through there like I did on the first lap. But yeah, when you take aero damage on these, it's not like you're not going to lose seconds a lap. You're just going to lose sort of 2 or 3 tenths a lap, and that's enough to just make it tricky. The leader also had about the same aero damage as me, and he was a few tenths down on the cars without damage. but we were battling rather heavily here for second place as we all go in 2x2 into the first corner. Yeah, this is one of the most exciting races I've been a part of. It was great fun. Husky managed to make his way up into second, and in doing so he put the black and yellow car out of position, and the poor guy goes from second to about 5th or 6th in a matter of 2 corners. When you're racing as close as this, yeah, if you make one little mistake, you get yourself out of position slightly. On a track as fast as this, you can find you lose an awful lot of time. And yeah, he was just slightly out wide where he didn't want to be, and we all come streaming past. The only real good overtaking spot, or I should say conventional overtaking spot, you can get passes done through here. We saw a lot of going too wide through this section as the back markers trying his best to get out of the way. Thank you to the back markers. There was a little bit of a miscommunication going on there. They did try their best to stay out of the way. You might also see a car park for broken cars. But yeah, at the bottom of the hill is your big overtaking opportunity. The rest of the lap, unless you get a much better drive out of a corner, it's really very hard to find a way past. There was battling going on further back, although this was effectively for last place. Everybody behind these guys had quite heavy damage, and this is for 8th and 9th, I think. I'm not sure. The black and orange car scraped the wall. I think this guy scraped the wall at the same point I did as well. It was one of those places that looks simple, you can just get caught out on if you're a little bit uncareful. That's not good English. Whatever, you know what I mean. If you're not paying full attention, you can just get caught out by that wall, as we saw a few people. I'm not sure where the leader took his damage. I didn't see. I did have a look and I couldn't tell. But probably on the opening lap when we were all jostling for position. But yeah, there was good battling going on around. It was a shame there was quite a few broken cars in this one. The first corner incident, I think, was just purely lag. Just one car was jumping about a little bit and lagged backwards into somebody and killed them. There we go. There's the car park of the 3 broken cars, and there's a couple that are still circulating that were quite heavily damaged. Yeah, it was a little bit disappointing because this track's great fun for these cars. It really is a very good track for driving these around. It runs very wide over that curve there. I had a few brown trouser moments running along that wall. It really, because these cars are front wheel drive, you will get a little bit understeer if you're pushing it really hard, and that corner is pretty much flat out, and if you get it just a little bit wrong, yeah, you do go quite close to the wall. Anyway, I believe this is on to the final lap, and Husky was locked in battle with the blue Seat. As you can see behind him, I was locked in battle as well. Now, with my sort of small amount of aero damage, I was trying everything I could to keep up with them. I couldn't really do a huge amount about it. I was hoping that as they battled, they would slow each other down and sort of bring me into contention. As you can see, they were catching up to the leader, even though they were sort of battling as well. Yeah, they were catching up to the leader because he had the similar sort of situation that I did. And sure enough, as they started to really get into this battle on the final lap, they were slowing each other down. I was now joining in the fight. The car behind me, I think, ran a little bit wide and fell slightly back. I was looking every which way I could to try and get up into third. However, I don't quite have the speed as you go through the S's. You can't overtake through there. You've also struggled to overtake around this final corner as a back marker. I think I played chicken with that back marker on the inside, as did the car behind me. Got very close to him. He was doing the right thing. We were just sort of running very close to the inside of the corner, and as we run out of the final corner on the final straight, I got very close to the back of the blue Seat. However, Husky was to take second, blue Seat was to take third. At the front though, our leader, as I said, had a little bit of damage, didn't have the fastest lap, I don't think. He was doing a similar pace to me. We were all very close. I think there's only sort of 4/10 of a second between first and fifth fastest lap. Yeah, if there hadn't sort of been all the scraps, if we'd all been together, it would have been very interesting. The leader kind of got away, and as we were all sort of tussling over that second place in that huge battle, we did slow each other down a little bit. Either way though, it was a very good race from everybody. Highly enjoyable track for these cars. I really do like these cars. They are a huge amount of fun. Really do recommend you drive them if you haven't given them a go, because they have so much grip, and especially on that track. It's such a fast, such a flowing track. We move on to round 2 at the Silverstone International Circuit, and the 3 FailRace presenters were in the top 4. Me and Husky started on the front row. I think Daniel started in 4th. Yeah, it was a good starting order for us guys. As we round the first corner, I'm side by side with Husky the entire way. I eventually have to concede the corner. You don't want to go side by side really through the first part of Maggots and Beckett's. As we go on to the international circuit, Daniel runs very wide. I don't think he was assisted. I think he just got a little bit too carried away. I don't think there's any major incidences either at that first corner, which is a miracle. Daniel's getting a little bit bullied further back as they all jostle for position as we come down to the hairpin for the first time. I'm on the outside looking for a way past Husky, trying to do sort of a bit of a cutback. Unfortunately, further back there is one car I think missed his braking point, and yeah, had a bit of a collision with the back of somebody else. Don't think it was intentional, just braked a bit too late and ended up in the back of someone. There wasn't too much damage though. Well, those cars had some aero damage. There wasn't major damage to cars at this point. Not unlike the last race where about 4 cars were totaled. By this point, there wasn't a huge level of damage in this one. I'm now trying to find a way past Husky, looking every which way I can. I'm trying to sort of take a wide entrance to get a better drive out of the corners. However, it's not quite working. Husky gets a big slide on in a front-wheel drive car. There's somebody behind us who's sat in there waiting, watching, just in case anything goes a little bit wrong. You can see Daniel a little bit further back. You might be able to see him. Who's driving he's also driving an orange and black car. He couldn't make the first race because of connection issues. As we run into the first corner, we're going to go side by side through there. I'm on the inside, getting a little bit squeezed. But yeah, it's again Silverstone. This track's fairly hard to overtake. It's pretty damn quick as the black Seat finds its way past me. I'm sort of not giving up though. I'm on the inside as we go through the chicane. We did go too wide through there. However, I do have to eventually concede the corner. It is a little bit tricky, a little bit of a nudge there from me to overtake around here. Though you have got a couple of really good overtaking spots. Into this hairpin is a very good spot to try and overtake. As you can see, Daniel is having to defend very heavily from a green Seat. Someone in the background runs a little bit too wide. Can't quite put the power on that early. Somewhere in all of the melee, Daniel had a small amount of aero damage, fairly similar to me in the first race, and it's just enough to be a pain. It's not enough to sort of ruin your race. It doesn't make the car terrible to drive. It's just enough to slow you down that little bit and make it rather annoying. So yeah, Daniel found himself in the middle of the pack. Well, I say in the middle of the pack. I think he was in 5th at this point and was trying to work his way forward. Further back, there was loads of battling going on in this race. When I was looking through the replay, this has to be one of the sort of closest races we've done in a long time. You can see here we've got someone's going for the outside into the first corner. It's always brave trying to go too wide through there. I'm not a huge fan of trying to overtake in that first corner. However, this guy does get the move done around the outside. Well done. It's very, very tricky to go around there and make the move stick. Not normal to see a Red Bull being overtaken around the outside, I'll tell you that. In any form of motorsport for that matter. Even the V8 supercars, the Red Bulls blooming win most of the things. Anyway, yeah, that's a good overtake. But yeah, there's so much racing going on, and that's just because these cars are such great cars. They're so easy to drive. Anybody can sort of get hold of them, and you will probably do fairly well with them. There's so much grip in the things. There's a good example of what the aero damage does to your car. When you have, I think this guy had quite a lot of aero damage. Not sure quite where he got it, but you can see how fast everybody is around him. That's pure aero damage. There's no engine damage at all in this car. Admittedly, the replay telemetry might be a little bit wonky, but as far as I can tell, this car has no engine damage, and that's just pure aero damage. That's how much it slows you down when you've got kind of extensive damage. Yeah, aero is all important on these cars. They are blooming touring cars, or pretty much touring cars after all. But yeah, you want to. It's better to go off the track than it is to run into the back of somebody with these, because once you take that aero damage, you are in trouble. Daniel was making his way through the field, and he was bringing the green Seat with him. He'd now made his way up to 3rd position around the first corner. I'm not sure how everybody got around there all in one piece. Yeah, as far as overtaking spots sort of go for this track, first corner is possible, kind of scary. This corner is always interesting. I don't really like Silverstone National Circuit. It's such a terrible join off the Maggots and Beckett circuits. This track is better. This track has a better sort of join off the circuit. You can see how much Daniel's struggling in a straight line compared to the green car. He's going to have a look. Daniel's trying to cover the inside. It's going to be a long way around the outside. Your hairpin is your best bet for an overtake. The green car's trying to do the cutback, can't quite get alongside him. Further back, there's some overtaking going on, and your other good opportunity is after bridge. That is my favourite of the overtaking spots. It is a very, very good corner to launch an attack. It was a few laps, and these two were locked in a battle for third position. The Green Caterham gets ahead of him in the straight line, however, he is on the outside for the hairpin. It's a long way around there, however, he keeps his foot in, and now they are side by side as they run down towards bridge, and this is where you'll see my personal favourite overtaking spot on this track. The green Seat manages to stay around the outside. That is hard to do around there. Both are absolutely flat out, and then it's up the inside through here. Keep your car on the apex, and there you go, pass is done. For me, that's probably overtake of the evening, just for staying around the outside of somebody through bridge. Personally, when I like overtaking around here, I like to stay behind somebody through bridge, and then you sort of duck out and go on the inside. Going around the outside of somebody through there is pretty damn tricky in these cars, because I don't think either of them lifted through there. So for me, that's going to be the overtake of the evening. It didn't really matter what position you were in. Everybody was having a race with somebody. I think there was that one broken car, or a couple of broken or sort of damaged cars. I wouldn't say broken, they had aero damage at further back. But yeah, there was so much battling going on in this race, as we have a bright blue Seat against a Samsung one, and there's another one in there as well. There's lots of arguments going on through this race. At one point I thought they were going to try and go 3 wide through bridge. That would have been interesting. And this car's going to demonstrate, this is my favourite move. You get a better run through bridge, and then you dive up the inside here, and then you're alongside them. Doesn't matter necessarily if you completely get the move done there, because then you're on the inside for the next corner, and if you're far enough alongside, then you can get to the inside for the next one as well. It's again, you can spend a lot of time side by side with somebody. There's a bit of nudging going on there, and the blue Seat finds himself out a little bit wide and across the grass, manages to get away with it. I don't think any real damage was done in that. Yes, another track you can find yourself side by side for an awful lot of the lap if you were trying to make the pass. At the front, and it was me and Husky, we had pretty much the entire race we've been battling. At one point I dropped back a few tenths, made a bit of a mistake, and then I caught back up to Husky, and yeah, this was a race-long battle. I was just trying to find a way past him. As we come through Maggots and Beckett's, I brake a little bit too late to just slightly tag the back of Husky's car. Again, no damage done at all in this. However, I thought I had screwed up my chances. My plan was to get a better drive out of that first corner and try and get him into the hairpin. I was better on the brakes, as you'll see now. We come into the hairpin. I'm very much... sorry, English just failed completely. I was much better on the brakes into the hairpin. I was trying to get an overtake done there, but because of that little bit of contact, I was too far back. However, I was now right back on the bumper of Husky, and I had one more spot to make the move into my favourite overtaking spot. I was very, very quick through bridge. However, Husky knows what he's doing and kind of anticipated the move. He blocked the inside. There may have been another little bit of assist from me. I find myself on the inside for the next corner. However, I'm not really far enough alongside, so I can stay on the inside of Husky through here. However, now I'm on the outside. Don't really want to be on the outside here. It's a very long way to go around. In equal cars, you're not going to do it. I try and get a cutback. I try to get back to the inside on the exit, get a better run out of the corner. However, I just can't quite do it. In the background, you can see while we were battling, the green Seat was really catching us while we were arguing over first position. However, Husky takes the win, me very close behind in second. Daniel ends up finishing fourth. It was a really good race, that Silverstone. I really, really enjoyed that one as well. So, I was filled with hope as we move on to Laguna Seca. This racetrack normally produces good racing as well. There's loads of good places to overtake around here. As we come into the first corner, there's a little bit of paint swapping, there's a little bit of bumping, but nothing too bad. I think there's one car, there's a black and red one, that ends up across the sand. However, everybody gets away with the first corner, which is a rare occurrence when it comes to Laguna. That first corner is very, very wide, and it tempts people into going 4 wide into there, and then you all have a big crash. However, it was at turn 4 where everything went wrong. There was a little tap between the two leaders. Daniel got into the back of Husky. Somebody spun round, and that killed me. And there was lots of broken cars. This is another one of those cases. I looked at the replay. It was a tiny touch between the two leaders. It was enough to unsettle the car that was... Well, it was enough to unsettle the yellow car, spun him round, and I just had nowhere to go. Went straight into the side of him, and in all of that crash there was a lot of broken stuff. However, the cars that did get through, and well done to everybody further back who managed to avoid all of the spinning wrecks. There was lots of lots of close racing on this first lap as we run up towards the corkscrew. Ignore the black car with the smoking engine, that's just a buggy replay because he's going far too fast to have a damaged engine, as these lot all battle their way down the corkscrew. I don't think I've ever seen quite so many cars all trying to change position through the corkscrew in one shot. There's a little bit of a tag there on the back of the monster car. It's a little bit scary getting tags through these corners. Now, it doesn't take a lot to unsettle these cars, and while you're unlikely to spin them out because they are front wheel drive, you can unsettle them, and if you're running simulation steering, sometimes you can spin yourself out trying to save it. One of the downsides of simulation steering is that it's very hard to save the car when things go wrong, but I kind of like the added realism. I don't know, I've never driven a real race car, don't know whether it'd spin you out when you're trying to save it, but yeah, it's just one of the challenges when you run with sim steering. Now, I believe this is the battle for 5th. As we run into the first corner, the green Seat manages to get to the inside, however runs a little bit wide, just outbrakes himself a tiny bit, and the Red Bull Seat can get back up the inside. There was, at the front, like with all the damage to Husky and Daniel's car, they were quite spread out, or they were going to be quite spread out. Back here was where all the excitement was, as somebody runs very wide through the second corner and out on the dirt. This wasn't the greatest of races. There was quite a few broken cars from the first lap whatever, you know what I'm on about. Husky was struggling with a very damaged car. Daniel had a fair amount of front aero. Husky was completely broken aero-wise. Don't think he'd suffered any sort of internal damage, and I don't know what's going on with that black car, why it's got a smoky engine. It shouldn't have. I don't think it was involved in a crash. If it was only a minute crash because it's still going blooming fast. Yeah, there was an awful lot of broken cars in this one, all sort of severely damaged. There was about 3 of us, I think, you had to take to the pit lane. Yeah, there was lots of broken stuff. However, it was the battle for 5th. That was to be the most exciting sort of thing going on in this race. The middle of the pack was fairly exciting to start with. It did eventually get sort of spread out. There was this tussle between the Red Bull, sorry, I can speak, the Red Bull car, the green Seat, and the blue Seat behind them. There was another battle going on as well, all over the midfield positions. Blue car runs very wide. Lots of people were exploring the sand trap over there, and in doing so, the green car has now managed to get up the inside and has overtaken the pair of them yet again. However, the Red Bull car can get a better run out of the corner. The blue car gets a better run than the pair of them, and now they're almost going to go 3 wide. You still want to go 3 wide into that corner. As I said, this track's a great place for overtaking. Almost all of the corners are good overtaking spots. The top of the hill, you can go 2 wide through. I wouldn't normally advise it. However, every other corner near enough I've seen and have been part of overtakes on, and they're all fairly good overtaking spots because most of the corners have a decent braking zone. There's a straight followed by a fairly sharp corner, and it makes for interesting racing. It makes a great circuit. I do like Laguna Seca. Not necessarily my fastest circuit, but I do like running Laguna in these versus the community events because it does generate good racing normally when there's not a big crash at the start. Even through these corners, it is quite possible to get up alongside somebody. Further back, as I said, there were quite a few broken cars. I think from sort of 8 backwards, again, they were pretty damaged in this race. I'm not necessarily talking about like completely totaled, it's just heavy amounts of aero damage, and that really does make the cars tricky. Well, I should say tricky to drive. They're not tricky to drive with heavy aero damage. They're just slow, incredibly slow. But, you know, there's still some overtaking going on, but it was more to do with how much damage you had on your car than sort of how good a driver you were. This was the battle for the last of the cars that were actually functioning. This was for 12th. Back to 14th. Me and I think there's only 2 of us went to the pits with really heavy engine damage from that first corner shunt. All of these guys here, I think, suffered damage of some sort. Yeah, it was slightly disappointing that there was such a big crash on the first lap. As I said, there's loads of broken things in this one. But there was still racing going on. Even if you had a broken car, you could normally find somebody who also had a broken car, and you could try and sort of do some overtaking, have a little bit of a race. Okay, it might not be over the front positions, but you know, it's still better than nothing. Nothing worse than driving around completely on your own, whether it be at the front or at the back or in the middle. It's very boring driving around on your own. I'd much rather be in a battle with somebody, even if it is only over 12th position. as I said earlier, the biggest battle of the field. This went on the entire race for 5th place. It swapped who was partaking in the battle, but yeah, this went on for quite a while. We've got the blue Seat is trying to get past the green one. I think that's Husky in front of them. They were gradually catching up to Husky. Of course, as they're battling, they're slowing each other down and stuff. But yeah, they were gradually catching up to the very broken Husky. Husky was having one of those I'm all on my own sort of races. In fact, I think the top 4 were all very lonely. They were all fairly spread out with Daniel broken, Husky broken, and the leader being, I think only one car got through that sort of first lap incident mayhem without any damage. Because, yeah, when something goes wrong at the front of a field like that, there's nothing you can do about it. And it just escalates. However, yeah, there's still some good racing to be had. Blue car's trying to find a way past, looking at almost every corner he can. It's very locked up into the top of the corkscrew. Sometimes I'm not sure with these replays if the car's actually locked up when they go into the corners. There can be some weird replay glitches. On that occasion, though, I think he probably was, considering his car was steering right into a left-hand corner. Not what you want to be doing. However, he gets a very good run through that second to last corner. He's going to have a look possibly into the final corner, not quite close enough as they run through the final corner and on towards the start-finish line. At the front, though, it had been a very quiet race. You can just about see me almost being lapped. That's how badly damaged my car was and how much time I lost in the pit stops. Yeah, this guy got through the mayhem, avoided all the crashes, all the incidents. Well, it's just one incident, really. Avoided any damage, and that is so important when you're all driving equal cars, and especially cars like this. Yeah, he kept his car clean, got to the front, and drove away from everybody. Didn't make any silly mistakes. I also love the livery on that car. It's a very cool, very cool livery. On the Domino's car. I think Daniel ended up in 2nd and Husky ended up in 4th. This battle continued until the final lap. The blue car was still trying to find his way past. He couldn't quite make a move again. Gets a very, very good run through that second to last corner. Green car goes defensive. Goes a little bit defensive. I would have gone a lot more defensive into that final corner if I'd been him. The blue car, though, doesn't make a line and actually runs a little bit wide on the exit. Yeah, this battle for 5th was by far the most interesting thing in this third race as they crossed the line. And I finished a long way down, a long way back in last. Anyway, there we go. That is it for this week's Versus the Community. It was really good fun. I really do like these cars. They might not be to everybody's tastes, but they are huge, huge amounts of fun to drive. They've got so much grip, and the fact that they're front-wheel drive, you really don't notice it. I like a car that understeers over having oversteer, so I really like the way these cars drive. I can understand why some people might not, but I really do recommend you give them a drive if you haven't, because they are great cars. They have so much grip. I would like to apologise as well to the people who couldn't get into this event. Normally, we can get everybody who wants to take part can get into a race. However, because we have people who sign up but don't actually turn up. But this week, a lot of people, or most of the people who signed up actually turned up, so we couldn't actually fit everybody into the lobbies. We did also have a few issues getting people connected. For some reason, we get 14 players connected fine, and then trying to get the final 2, the game really doesn't like it. I'm not sure why. But yeah, we did have some issues with that. But it was a very, very good evening. These cars are great fun. It was some great racing. It's just a shame about that Laguna race that so many cars were broken. However, next week's FailRace Versus the Community is going to be held on the 21st of November. No, this week's Versus the... Oh, it's blooming confusing. Yes, this week's Versus the Community, it'll be next week's video, is going to be on Thursday, the 21st of November. That is a day before the Xbox One's release. You'll have something to do on the evening while you're waiting for the Xbox One. The video will be out on Tuesday. So, yeah, the Versus the Community from this week will be out next week. The first Forza 5 will be a week on, I think. Oh, I give up explaining. Yeah, you get what I mean, I hope. If you don't get what I mean, well, never mind. Yeah, so next week will be on this week will be on Forza 4, sorry. Then after that, it will probably be one on Forza 5. However, we will not be abandoning Forza 4 and going straight onto 5, as I know some people won't get the console till Christmas. Some people will wait a bit longer before they get the console. So we will still be coming back to Forza 4 for some Versus the Community. So don't panic if you're not getting the Xbox One on day one. We will still be coming back to Forza 4 to do some racing. The actual racing for this week's one, we are going to be doing city car racing, as I really wanted to do this again, as it was huge amounts of fun when we did it before. The tunes for the cars, there are 5 to choose from: a Ford Ka, Volkswagen Fox, Toyota Aygo, Citroen C1 and a Peugeot 107. You can find all 5 tunes on my FailRace account storefront. You pick the one you want to use and then download it and stick it on your car. I'll just give you brief advice on the cars. The Aygo, the C1 and the Peugeot are the fastest accelerating, fastest in a straight line. The Ka is by far the best handling, and the Fox is the strongest. And it's not bad handling either. The tunes are locked. I built all of these cars a while ago. They're all very balanced. They're all very good around the track. They're huge fun to drive. You might have a little issue rolling them over if you attack a curve a bit too much. But yeah, last time we did this, it was great fun. So since these cars aren't going to be in Forza 5, we're going to give it another go in Forza 4. If you wish to sign up to take part in this event, then you can go to our forums. I'll put a link in the description. You find the FailRace versus the community section and you sign up in there. However, that is it for today. So thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.